Fantastic Four. Mr. Fantastic. Invisible Woman. Human Torch.
I love you, Johnny!
And the Thing.
Hey, what time is it?
What time is it, Ben?
No.
What time is it, Ben?
No, Johnny.
Say it!
I don't wanna!
Say it!
It's clobbering time!
And this is the IMF, goddammit. That's right, IMF, which is iconic movies and films. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But I am not alone. No, I am traveling with some of the best, one of the finest individuals in the universe, and he is Mr. Audiovox, but he goes by Mr. Andrew Baker. My main man, Andrew, what is up, my brother?
Thank you so much for having me. Once again, it is always a pleasure to be here. And hello, world. It is great to see you again as well.
We're both huge, huge fans of Marvel. So this week, we are covering Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four. That is the Fantastic Four. First step, Mr. Andrew Baker, being the comic genius that you are, please tell us, what is the plot of this story? Please break it down for our viewing pleasure.
We are in an alternate reality, alternate version of Earth. I believe this movie takes place in the 1960s. Alternate reality, New York City. We are 3 years into the careers of the Fantastic Four. 3 years ago, 4 daring scientists and astronauts went out into space, came back with cosmic given powers.
Please welcome the Fantastic Four.
But this time, the Fantastic Four faces a threat so great, they might not be able to stop it. That villain is, of course, Galactus, the World Eater.
I herald Galactus.
What is that?
This is an alternate universe or a parallel universe to the Marvel universe that has already been pre-established?
Correct. This is a different New York City than the one we've established back in 2008 with Iron Man.
Because you know what I thought was really, really cool, just right out the break, is I absolutely loved the aesthetic, man. I loved the way that the world looked. But I really liked how it was kind of a throwback to the old while also being in the future. Like I said, they had things that were record players or record-like players. They had people that were stylized in 1960s styles, all the way from the afros to the, the whole look of it. But yet at the same time, they had all of this futuristic technology. So right off the break, I was really, really, really digging the way they set up the aesthetic of how the world actually was and how these characters existed in it.
I completely agree with you. What it reminded me of was a lot of the style of Watchmen, Alan Moore's work. I really love that the visual effects of the film also kept that 1960s look and feel as well. They recreated things that could technically have been done during that time period with, computers and the technology that we have today. But I loved the old look.
One thing that I liked about this movie is I felt like it was its own secular story. Like, you know what I mean? Like I could just watch it. To be honest with you, I felt like I was reading a comic book. It took me back when I used to read comic books, and this was just an episodic story with the Fantastic Four. Now, one thing that you mentioned, and I do have to say this since you brought it up, I didn't really understand the Galactus thing. So can you elaborate? Galactus is an Earth or a planet destroyer?
The World Eater Galactus, a being older than the universe itself, given an unsatiable hunger, who goes from planet to planet, devouring it. His herald, the Silver Surfer, chooses planets to spare their own.
Are you the protectors of this world?
Yes, we are.
Your planet is now marked for death.
My fault. I stretched the bounds of space. And they hurt.
That was confusing to me. Like, I didn't really understand that. And in all honesty, and I know we'll get to this later, But to me, that was somewhat of a weakness of the film. I think Galactus, to me, he just seemed like kind of like this big giant, slow, kind of boring dude. I don't know.
Let's talk about the villain. Yeah, let's talk. What did you like about Galactus?
See, to me, I think mainly because I just didn't, all the stuff that you're telling me now, I didn't for some reason I didn't understand that as it was happening. Maybe if I understood it, and again, maybe that's my fault. Maybe I just, I wasn't paying attention, but I didn't really understand why he was doing what he was doing. I didn't know that he needed to feed on the planet. I thought the way he looked, especially, I saw it in IMAX and also on 3D, looked fantastic, bro. Looked incredible. I thought he looked dope, but I felt like he didn't really do anything.
We're gonna speak on this more because this is my biggest problem with the film, is that I think it was a great sci-fi, but it wasn't a great superhero movie.
Okay.
Because the powers were underrepresented.
But before we get into that, so just to put a pin in the Galactus thing, I thought as a villain, he was kind of forgettable. Other than the way he looked, his aesthetic, I thought he looked good. I thought in concept of him was good, but I didn't understand what his powers or what his motivation, other than him wanting to, to take the baby. And again, I'll let you elaborate on that, because to me that doesn't make any sense either. But overall, in terms of how it looked, I thought it was cool. The Silver Surfer character, I've never been a huge Silver Surfer person. I know there's people that are legions of Silver Surfers. They even have their own club of Silver Surfer people. I didn't like the original Silver Surfer, and I wasn't familiar with this one. So now that we've established the basic plot, they go to see Galactus, and while visiting Galactus, they try to negotiate a peace settlement, and Galactus says that he would be willing to forego their planet if they would be willing to offer up their unborn child.
We are going to find a solution. We are going to make it right.
Why was that relevant? Why did he need the child? Do you know why that is?
The child was the only one who could take his hunger from him and essentially become the next Galactus.
Okay. Like I said, I'm willing to go with it. So yeah, overall, I really liked the family element. I really liked, the storyline in terms of them working as a group. I thought the female character was the most powerful, Sue Storm. She's the star of the movie. What did you think of Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic?
I think he did a great job acting. I think he brought the character to life in a really entertaining way. I think this actually might be my favorite performance from Pedro Pascal. I think really by the character, he really went for a period piece type character, the way that he spoke and the way that he acted. I loved his chemistry with Vanessa Kirby playing Sue Storm. I think they all had great chemistry together.
What about the Human Torch, or Flame On, as I like to call it?
Human Torch, Johnny Storm, played by Joseph Quinn. I like that this is probably the smartest Johnny Storm I think that I've seen in film. He's usually relegated to being the goofball womanizer, whatever kind of comedic backup role. I was really happy that they gave him a brain and a smarts and cleverness to him that also rounded out the team in a way that I thought was really fulfilling. Especially the way that he communicated with the Silver Surfer, with still making him like the womanizer, cheeky kind of guy. But I really enjoyed it and enjoyed the special effects they used to it too. Joseph Quinn did a great job.
So then that takes us to The Thing. What'd you think of him?
I think The Thing's portrayal was really good. A great character, again, being time period appropriate, playing the character with the accent, that New York accent. I loved. As far as superhero goes, the effects on him were so good sometimes. I thought it looked just as good as someone wearing a suit. The eyes were so good. Shout out to the visual effects team because he looked amazing in some of those points.
I thought he was great also as the Thing. Did you ever used to read those What If comics? And it would be like, what if Spider-Man fought so-and-so? Or what if so-and-so fought so-and-so? And I remember there was one where it was, what if the Thing fought the Incredible Hulk? And so he was fighting the Incredible Hulk, and I remember this. I swear to you, I remember this. The Hulk hits the Thing, bam, and all of his rocks blast off of him. Like, it blasts him back into being just a regular dude, bro. And I will never forget that. I was like, damn, yo, but the Hulk,
Yep.
bam.
The Red Hook would have flattened Mount Rushmore.
None of those characters were one-dimensional. You all felt like they were real people. So even though, and you know how I hate special effects, bro. Even though basically the entire Fantastic Force in special effects, because they counterbalanced it with some real actors, giving some real performances, it didn't turn into Superman just spinning around blasting people. You see what I'm saying? It still had some gravitas to it. But no, I really enjoyed him, man. I thought he did a really good job. So those are our 4 key characters. Our villain is
Galactus.
the Silver Surfer, is sort of somewhere in between. She has a moral dilemma. So that is our characters. That is our base.
Act 3. So this, we're going to get into what I think is the biggest weakness of the film. And this act of the film is the first time that the Fantastic Four must rely on their powers to overpower an opponent. Every other problem they've encountered in the film has been solved by their quick thinking, their teamwork, and their calculations, which I think is fun. It made the characters very smart. I like that they stayed one step ahead of the audience the entire time. But I think this is where the film falls short, because there's only one character who could take on Galactus, and let's say one of the Fantastic Four who could actually take on Galactus. 2 of them actually had powers you could believe would at least give them some sort of trouble. And then you have Mr. Fantastic, who all he does superhero-wise throughout the film is reach stuff quickly.
Mhm.
That is his superpower. He's essentially the Flash. In
His
this
brain. I always thought his brain. He's like super smart.
He's smart. He's the leader. He gives out the plans. I like that. But what I felt was lacking from the film was a show of power, I think. There was a couple good moments in Act 3. I think Johnny shooting fire through Sue Storm's convex lens to focus the fire in his eyes, I thought was a nice little superhero touch. I think Invisible Woman's use of her powers and her she was so overwhelmed with emotion and ties to family that she was able to use up all of her power to push this giant being into a wormhole, black hole teleportation device. But again, Reed just bounces around for that fight. I don't really know why he was there. I don't feel like anyone did a lot of inventive or cool things with their powers. It was just very straightforward. And I feel like this is where the movie faltered a little bit, where it wasn't as entertaining to watch. It was just sort of watching someone push someone else for 15 minutes. It's just straight. It was just a pushing match more than anything else. And I would have loved to see something more inventive and creative when it came to that final showdown.
That's an interesting take on that, and I actually agree with you. The thing about the Fantastic Four, though, that I always thought was what made them sort of unique compared to, say, the X-Men or the Avengers or any other collaborative kind of superhero, ensemble, was their roles are very specific. Like, to me, Mr. Fantastic, yeah, he was stretchy and he could do all of that stuff, but his number one thing was he was the brain. So he's the brain. The Thing, is the muscle, the body, the muscle. Not to say that he's not intelligent, but he's just, he's the muscle.
Yeah.
Sue Storm, she's the heart, like she's the soul of the team. She to me, it felt like the whole thing was built around her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole thing. Like, granted that was part of the story, and her having the baby obviously would center her that way. But to me, she's the heart of the team. And then, of course, then you have Johnny. He's the fire. He's the smoke. Like you said, he's the Johnny Blaze. He's the guy that he has the style. He's got the flame on shit. You know what I mean? So to me, each of them has a very specific, part of the team. And I do agree with you that if you just look at it like on the surface in terms of them doing like incredible things individually, it's not that exciting. But like I said, to me, they all played a very specific role. To me, that's what makes the Fantastic Four interesting. I will say, to be completely honest with you, this is what I was saying before about Galactus. I didn't think they could beat Galactus. Like, I kind of have a hard time believing that they could beat Galactus. Because as you say, they didn't show overwhelming strength. To me, they weren't these invincible superheroes. They were these guys that had marginal powers, but if we work together as a team, we can do some shit. You see what I'm saying? So I agree with you though. Like I said, to me, all of the fight stuff was a little underwhelming. Like, I never felt like, I was seeing any major like battles that I hadn't seen before. But like I said, because it was a little bit toned down, I kind of appreciated it more. The Fantastic Four could have very easily just been some total bullshit. Like, you could easily go off the rails with this because, like you said, they're already going to wormholes, to another subdimension where they meet the Silver Surfer Part 2, who's in another dimension to fight this. See what I'm saying? That could have really went off the rails. And I don't think that happened. I think they were still able to keep it grounded on some kind of level where I found it enjoyable. But I agree with you. I think it could have been a little bit more exciting. I just kind of felt like because the baby is so small, I mean, it's almost kind of like a Yoda kind of thing. Like, I know we can believe that Yoda's super powerful, and part of what made you think Yoda was super powerful was because he was this little motherfucker. You know what I mean? He must be like super powerful. You the master, and you just this little dude. I guess that's kind of what the baby was supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like because to me, out of all of the Fantastic Four, the baby's the strongest one. It seems like the baby's going to be the strongest one.
He brought someone back to life.
Right. And so because of that, I think you couldn't make the other four members too strong. See what I'm saying? Like, you had to give the baby some room to be, you see what I'm saying? But the fact that it was just so small compared to Galactus, to me, like, even when he takes the baby and he's carrying the baby, it's like, I mean, the baby's like a little, it just seemed a little bit silly. You know what I mean? I couldn't get over the visual image of it. And then if there's one thing I'm not going to lose is the baby.
We'll face it together. As a family.
It's this whole point for being there is the baby.
To me, that was weak. I gotta strike you down a little bit for that one. But anyway, so let's do the ratings, bro.
Once again, this is IMF. 5 stars is going to be Johnny Blaze, best of the best. Underneath that, we have some Street Fire, which is some really good stuff. Middle ground, we call Butter on Toast. Below that is going to be some ass. And underneath that is just total fucking bullshit. All right, my rating for Fantastic Four First Steps is going to be fire. I enjoyed this film. I'm looking forward to a rewatch. For me personally, Fantastic Four was like an 89, a solid B+. I like that Fantastic Four is its own thing. I had fun from start to finish. I think it faltered a little bit in the superhero genre, But the sci-fi movie is a movie in general. I thought it was a solid B+. Again, my rating is fire.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the Mac Real One. As my partner in crime has just implicated, this is the IMF. Yes, iconic movies and films. I am going to give this film, and I'll be honest with you, I went back and forth. I'm going to give this movie butter on toast. I would say this is butter on toast, 3.5 stars. So that would probably put it around the 82 to 83 range.
Some Nutella on toast.
Yeah, it's good. It's really, really good. There are some major flaws with this film. In this movie, they very easily could have went off the rails, and that could have easily happened. And I feel like because they did take the time to establish the family, and we are a family, and that dynamic to me is the best part of the film. All in all, man, I think it was a very strong, like I said, first steps, a la Rebirth. You know what I mean? I think it was really good. I thought it was really good. I can't go fire just yet because, like I said, to me, there was some really parts of the movie that suffered. But overall, I really enjoyed it, man. So yeah, my final rating on this one, I'm gonna go 3.5 stars, which, as usual, is butter on toast. That is our ratings for the Fantastic Four. Final Steps. It's in a theater near you. Check it out. As always, I am the Mac Real One, and that is Mr. Andrew Baker. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. This is the IMF, which is the Iconic Movies and Films. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace out.
The future holds nothing else but confrontation.